Welcome back to this part of the episode. So on this orchard, we're going to show you what next after planting. This orchard was set up 4 months ago, and as you can see, we have different growth stages of the plants. Now, to start with, this is what you are happy as a farmer to see, because then it started getting vegetative. We call this the green flush. You see the plant is green enough. That means it's having enough nitrogen, and then you're having the flush. That means it started breaking the dormancy and it is growing. So the second part, when you start flushing, this baby needs a different type of nutrition. They need to start having their leaves so that they can have photosynthesis. We want to achieve the vegetative growth at this level, so that then you have a lot of photosynthesis to encourage the plant to grow. So we usually use the NPK and the CAN as granular fertilizer, and then we also use a foliar, an NPK foliar, which has trace elements. By trace elements or microelements, we mean that this plant does not only need the nitrogen, potassium and phosphorus, it also needs, say for example, magnesium. You know, magnesium is very important for photosynthesis in a plant. So the energy level and the vibrance of that plant is very important for you to have a fertilizer that has got trace elements, that those micro elements like iron and zinc and potassium and magnesium. So this is a good plant. This is an encouraging plant. From there, I would like us to look at the different plant that is behaving differently. Like I said, all your kids will behave differently. So if you look at this one, for example, now this is okay. It is not dead yet, but it's not broken its dormancy, because it doesn't have the fresh yellow green leaves like the one you had previously. However, if you look at the tip here, you'll see that they are starting to germinate. Yeah. Now, for you to fast track this one, perhaps it needs additional nutrition, and so we repeat. We do what you call spot treatment of such plants, and you repeat the application of the foliar fertilizer. Not the granular one, the foliar one that you apply on the leaves. So this is a different type of behavior. And you can see in the farm you have different types. You have some that are really vibrant and they're flushed, and others that are a bit slow but are coming in. You're happy they're not dead, because you can see from the top there they are tipping. And then you have a different type also. Now, I'll take you to a different type that has a nutrition deficit, for example. You find that you will plant some of the trees like this one, and yes, it is there, not dead. It's not broken its dormancy, but it is about to. However, you see that you're having some challenges because the leaves are not dark green as you'd find in the other leaves. Now, there are two things you do here. Either you take this to CropNut or SGS and they do the leaf analysis, and I'll tell you exactly what nutrition is lacking here, and you can do what you call the spot treatment again. In most cases, you'll find either it's an issue with iron, and we apply again the type of foliar that has got those trace elements in high level. If the deficiency of iron is too high, then you could apply iron also as granular, and also apply the foliar fertilizer with iron levels. Now the difference here is that if it's too yellow, when you apply the granular plus the one in the foliar fertilizer, then you have a higher iron content, because the foliar fertilizers will not have as much iron as you'd have when you are applying. So in this case, the severe cases, we apply both the iron and the foliar that has got iron. So we've seen the three different types of growth behaviors for the avocado seedlings. You have the vibrant one that becomes very vegetative. We have the other one that is also growing, but the dormancy is slow to break. And then you have this type that will definitely have some issues of nutritional deficits, which you normally will tell from the color of the leaves. And that's all because the soils behave differently, and therefore the plant is not taking the nutrients in the same way uniformly, and that's what we try to achieve. So the question you ask yourself, so after this, after the 4 months when you start treating them so that you have the dormancy broken and you have the vegetative growth, then how often would you apply the fertilizer and the foliars? In our case, we do it every 4 months. Some other farms do it differently, but in this case we do it 4 months because we prepare every rainy season. We make sure that we add a little bit of manure, a bit of fertilizer, and we do foliar application to ensure that by the time the rains are coming, then the plants can pick up in a vibrant way. When you're feeding your plants, we use different types of fertilizer. In our case, we use organic fertilizer from Spain, and in this case we are using Agramix. So make sure you read the instructions of your products, and then you follow that up and you apply your fertilizer. So in this case we have 4.5 ml per liter. So there we have put on our water that has our sticker, and we are going to see a demonstration of how then this is applied to the plant. So as you can see, it's very important that your workers, especially the ones who do the spraying, to have protective gear, because then you want to protect that their health. Okay. So we have our guys in PPE units based on the recommendations of the Global Gap. So what do we want to achieve here? So the challenge we are having in this plant is that it has not broken its dormancy. That means the process of growth is slower than the previous one that we saw that has got vegetative growth. So then what you ask yourself is, what's the why? What happens to a plant for it to break the dormancy? What are the activities? So the product that we were talking about, Agramix for example, it is got iron, which is very key. It's got zinc, magnesium, copper, and molybdenum and boron. Now all these are very important in the production of the enzymes that are very important for the plant to take up nutrients. They are also important for the photosynthesis and the conversion of the nutrients that the plant takes into energy. And once you get that energy and the growth enzymes, then you start experiencing the breaking of the dormancy. Remember, because we plant organically and want to have organic fruits, we use fertilizers from Spain that are organic. So remember, when spraying any foliar, any herbicide, any insecticide, you want to increase the efficiency of the product that you're using, because this is also expensive. So you must use a sticker, because that increases the surface tension. So instead of putting the application and then it drips off, and you have only one spot that is responding to that application, then you have what you call surface tension. Across the leaf, the application is felt and absorbed. That means then this plant is taking up the application that you have applied almost 100%. So let's do the demonstration. The beauty about foliar application is that you start seeing the results within 3-4 days, and you repeat this depending on the deficiency that you had. In most cases, in 2 weeks you can have a repeat application, but you just keep monitoring the plant until you're sure that it's gone back to the level that you have with the other plants. So that's the care that you give the plant from the time that you have it on the ground into 4 months. And you repeat that every 4 months, the foliar application and the fertilizer application, until the time that you'll be getting to the fruiting stage. And that in most cases would depend on the size of seedlings that you have. In our case, we have the 1.5. So in another 1.5 years, we'll be having the fruits taking shape. So in our next episode, we'll be taking you through that stage where the plant now is flowering and ready to give you results, and it is fruiting, and how then you take care of it and what kind of different nutrients will be required at those different times of the phase of growth. So until then, keep it green gold and keep subscribing.